the showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and like our leadership over there has been so welcoming to like my like not at all secret gay agenda. And so like I feel like I felt like it was.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this ridiculous reboot of the Proud Family cartoon show. Now, what you're going to get on this reboot is no more than an average day on Black leftist Twitter. You're going to get Black Lives Matter, racial hostility, discrimination, LGBT. You're going to get all that stuff in this show. Now, if you don't know what this show is, let me back up a little bit and explain. This is a children's show on the Disney Channel. Okay, it's supposed to be family friendly. It displays a Black family, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, friends, etc., so on and so forth. Now, this show came out originally back in 2001 to 2005. That was the first iteration of this show before the reboot, obviously. Now, this is beyond my time to watch it because by that time I was already pretty much an adult. At the end of high school and college, I was not watching the children's show on Disney, but I know people that have watched it. I know people that have children that were that age to have watched it. A lot of you guys say it was a good show, but I can guarantee you, if you thought it was good back then, you're not going to think so right now. Well, maybe some of you guys might like the LGBT and Black Lives Matter, all that kind of stuff. Now, before I go any further, let's roll some clips. Of course, I can't play the full video because they're going to give me a claim or a strike, but these videos will be in the description. Let's start with this one where they're talking about some hostility towards someone because of who they want to date. Yes, a children's show for kids and tweens and families and whatnot talking about dating. Let's check it out.
We need to talk about that little incident in the cafeteria today.
When your tracks fell into your mashed potatoes, girl, you'll be okay. Hair is protein.
No! You know what I'm talking about, Penny. Noah only dating white girls.
Yeah, no chocolate, no caramel, no sprinkles, no nothing. Don't act like you didn't feel some type of way, Proud.
Yeah, what's wrong with us?
Girl, we do not have enough time for that conversation.
So let's pause right here. So we hear the voice. We see what's going on with this hair, I suppose. We know this is a man. Okay, whatever they identify as, it doesn't matter. We know it's a man, and they're doing that on purpose. As you saw from the beginning, they want to put all kind of LGBT stuff in here in the children's show on Disney Plus. All right, so you got your kids sitting in front of the boob tube watching TV thinking that it's safe. Is it safe? I can't tell, but I digress. Let's keep on going, and I'm going to talk about that particular person a little bit more.
Oh, you're right. Bye.
Look, there is nothing wrong with you or any of us. He just likes Zoe.
Because she's white. Right, Maya?
My cousin lives down the street from him and says he only goes out with the vanilla.
That's not Zoe's fault. Besides, we don't know that's true just because your cousin says so. He could be dating Zoe for Zoe. Have you guys ever thought about that?
Well,
so I guess that's Penny Proud. I got a part of me. I didn't watch the show. I know a little bit about it from people that tell me, but I guess that's the main character, not her right there, but the girl that was just trying to be the voice of reason.
what I do know is we voted, and Becky with the red hair is officially uninvited to the princess party.
Who's that?
Zoe?
Yep, Becky with the red hair.
And I
This is just Black Twitter. I mean, like, they're saying some things that come straight from tweets and things of that nature that you probably wouldn't even say in real life. First. Second, why does it even matter? Why does it even matter who somebody would actually date? Like, if you're a black person and you date white women exclusively, so what? That's your preference. What's next? If I'm a man and I only date women exclusively, am I somehow wrong for that? Am I being homophobic if that's the case? If I don't want to date a man, does that make me wrong? How is it different when you're talking about preferences, dealing with race, size, gender, or whatever? It's your preference. You can't force me to date somebody that I don't want to date. You can't do that. So why is it even a thing to discuss, especially on a children's show? This is woke, ridiculous garbage. somebody even said it. Somebody said this is like a lot of the people that had problems dating in general because of how they look, not because of their race. They want to express their frustration through this cartoon and make it be some kind of racial moment to come together and scream Black Lives Matter. Well, how about pushing away from the table and don't weigh 1,000,000 pounds? How about that? But I digress. Here's another one. They're talking about Lincoln not freeing the slaves. This is going to be interesting. Let's see what's happening here.
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country.
Tilled this land from sea to sea to sea. First there was rice, tobacco, sugar cane.
Then Whitney did his thing and cotton became king.
And we were its soldiers,
4 million strong,
fighting for America's freedoms, even though we remained America's slaves.
Built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build this.
Slaves built this country. And we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering.
And continue to earn reparations every moment we spend submerged in the systemic prejudice, racism, and
white supremacy.
A children's show? I can't tell. I cannot tell. Burning Crosses on Disney Plus. Anyway, let's talk about this whole idea of slaves built in the country. I do agree with that. But it wasn't, you can't just say it was a white man came, built the country up, and then that's just what it was. Because that's just simply not the case. Cotton was the chief export. We all know how cotton got produced, slave labor. That was the economic fuel of the whole country, cotton, and it came from slavery. What was it like in 1870? The majority of our financial, the majority of our money, like 58% came from cotton. So that's part of it. But it was a joint effort. It wasn't like, okay, the slaves came by themselves and did it. It was a joint effort. You had the slavers, people that came from Europe, the slaves themselves, whether they be black slaves, Irish or whatever, they came and worked together. You know, regardless of whether it was forced or not, it doesn't matter. It took the whole thing, as unfortunate as it was, to make America be what it was. And somebody could say, oh, what about Australia? Australia's not the United States. Everybody wants to come here to the USA. But as far as reparations and stuff like that, reparations, if it was going to be paid, it should have been paid back at the end of slavery when they promised 40 acres and a mule, a certain part of the United States to inhabit, like the Indian reservations. It should have been paid back then. But now you try to institute that. First of all, it ain't going to happen. It's a political carrot that dangle in front of us. But second, you're not going to be able to identify who was really here during slavery or not with great accuracy. It's going to be a bunch of white guys claiming that they got a great grandma that was half black talking about, yeah, give me my check. That's what's going to happen. I already see it. And also the money would come from your own taxpayer money. So I don't really see the purpose. I don't see that it's really a viable thing to discuss. Although at one point it was deserved. If you were going to do it at the end of slavery, not 170 years later.
That America was founded with and still has not atoned for.
Slaves built this country. Not only field hands, but carpenters, masons,
blacksmiths, musicians,
inventors built cities from Jamestown to New Orleans to Banneker,
Washington. 40 acres and a mule.
We'll take the 40 acres, keep the mule.
We made your families rich.
From the southern plantation heirs
to the northern bankers,
to the New England ship owners,
the founding fathers,
former presidents,
current senators,
the Illuminati, the New World Order.
Slaves built this country.
We had Tubman,
Turner,
Frederick D.
I got to ask a question, though. Okay, if senators, all these people were made rich from slavery, was there anybody black made rich from slavery? Are we going to talk about that part? You know, like a Barack Obama or somebody like that? Well, he don't really count because, well, maybe he does count because his mom is white and she may have had ancestry of people owning slaves. Although that was a rich man's thing to own slaves, maybe she benefited from that. So if he's the first black president but was also enriched by slavery, how does that work? Does he get reparations? I just have a lot of questions that people don't really answer when they talk about stuff like this. They just talk about it in a way to get you emotionally charged, but they don't get down to the nitty gritty and the details.
Didn't they say Lincoln freed the slaves?
But slaves were men.
And women.
And only we can free ourselves.
Emancipation is not freedom. Jim Crow, segregation, rail.
So Lincoln did free the slaves, regardless of what you want to say. Men and women, like, I'm not really sure what that means. So you saying that women were still in bondage, like still slaves? Or are we trying to equate women not being able to vote with still being enslaved. I think that's not the same thing. I think you not being able to vote and staying at home raising the kids is not the same thing as literally working on a farm or on a cotton patch till your back breaks and you die in the heat of exhaustion. Not quite the same thing. Let's keep on going.
Headlining public schools, feeding private prisons, where we become slaves again.
As we celebrate Juneteenth
For the umpteenth time.
our account is still
I grew up celebrating Juneteenth because that was my dad's birthday. That was my dad's birthday and my uncle's birthday, meaning my dad's uncle, not my dad's brother. They're not twins. Okay, so we grew up celebrating Juneteenth my entire life. And all throughout that time, I lived in all black areas. I've not lived in an area that was not majority black until I got to be in my mid-30s. I've always lived in black areas, either 100% black or just majority 70% black, up until I got to be about 33, 34 years old. Nobody never talked about Juneteenth. Kwanzaa, maybe occasionally, Christmas, of course, regular holidays, but Juneteenth, that was a thing we celebrated in our family because of my dad and my uncle having that day as their actual birthday and Father's Day. You see what I'm saying? That's why we celebrated it, not because it was some kind of popular thing that everybody did. Juneteenth became popular because Donald Trump was going to have a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Juneteenth, and local people around there got offended. It made the news. Now all of a sudden everybody knows what Juneteenth is, although most of y'all had no idea what it was until that happened, but I digress.
outstanding.
Cause this country was built on slavery, which means
Slaves built this country.
And we demand our 40 acres and a mule.
bump that.
You can keep the mule.
Keep the 40.
We're taking our freedom.
Okay, well, that's that. That's a couple of clips from the new Proud Family reboot. Woke garbage. Really, that's what it is. If you enjoyed this show back when it first came out in the early 2000s, how you think about it now? I think that was terrible. That was really bad, but that's not really a surprise considering how television has gone down that direction. Everything's about some kind of racial grievance, LGBT, a bunch of woke, ridiculous nonsense. And at a certain point, we got to counteract that, because if you got kids growing up watching that, kids growing up having that kind of thought process in their mind, what kind of adults are they going to grow up to be? I think we all know what's going to happen, and I think that is the purpose of some of these showrunners. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the new Proud Family reboot? Did you like it? Not like it? Have you seen more than the clips I showed you? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. That was a hot pile of garbage, big time. And the thing is, if you're going to show stuff like that, show the rebuttal. Don't just show one side of it, because when you just show one side, you are brainwashing. You see what I did right there? I played what they said, and then I gave the other side or a different take on it. See, that's the whole purpose of me kind of doing stuff like this. I want to be able to give both sides, and then you, the viewer, make your own mind up. You think what I said makes sense? Or do you think what they said makes sense? Do you think I told the truth? Or how about them? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.